This week on Storyboard, we are in an exclusive chat with Amit Syngle, Managing Director and CEO Asian Paints on their latest campaign for Royale GLITZ, featuring Deepika Padukone and Karan Johar. He's also speaking about their focus on premiumization, how they are amping up their ad spends around the festival and the impact of new entrants in the decorative paints on their business. We have Kate Biddo, Director of News Partnerships for Google APAC, speaking about Google's initiatives on localization and personalization in India, and Google's fight against misinformation and much more. Hello and welcome to Storyboard. I'm Shivani Gharat. Festive season is knocking on the doors now, and brands and organizations are looking forward to welcoming it with open arms. One such brand is Asian Paints. In an exclusive conversation with us, Amit Syngle, Managing Director and CEO Asian Paints, reveals how the company is excited about the upcoming festival season that marries the cricketing season this year. Asian Paints will definitely be upping their ad spends this festival as compared to last year, he confirms. Firms also will be focusing on premiumization. I caught up with him and also spoke to him about their new campaign for Royale GLITZ, which aligns with brand's core positioning, steal the spotlight, and features their brand ambassador Deepika Padukone along with Karan Johar this time. He also spoke about how India's largest paint maker, Asian Paints, is not really worried about the incoming challenge from Pidilite, Grasim and many more entering the market. Listen in and also take a look at their new campaign exclusively. Amit, welcome to CNBC-TV18. Welcome to Storyboard.
Thank you so much.
New campaign for Royale GLITZ, featuring two stars, Karan Johar and Deepika Padukone. Still, the paint steals the spotlight in this one. If you can tell us more about it, and how was this conceptualized, and how was it evolved over last year's one featuring Deepika, which was very cute in its own right.
I think the way it has been conceptualized, while there are two superstars, the paint stars still takes the spotlight in a very strong way. What we wanted was very clearly working on a consumer insight in terms of saying, while luxury is apparent, but people basically want an RTB around the luxury as well to that extent. So I think what we took as very clearly is that there is a performance in the ultra sheen Royale GLITZ which we have, which is crack-free performance, which comes in, and that's the nuance which we wanted to bring about strongly. And therefore the shift, from a larger than glamour kind of TVC which we had last year, which was only talking about the good looks in terms of how the paint is stealing the good looks with its ultra sheen finish. We've kind of got in a real kind of attribute with this, which is about performance, which possibly runs the undertone of the entire commercial in terms of what is there. So which we think is a real highlight, and how it kind of really interacts with the superstar, but really is the superstar of the entire commercial, I think is very, very brilliant.
Yeah. And like each year, Royale GLITZ sets the tone for the festival for Asian Paints. If you can share your outlook for this festival season and your expectations from it, and what do we expect from Asian Paints in terms of campaigns and advertising?
Okay, first of all, I think for us, the whole luxury paradigm is becoming very, very important. And as what we are seeing is environment, I think the luxury brands are really kind of doing well. We think the entire luxury industry is moving towards something like almost about a $8.5 billion kind of overall potential in terms of by the end of the next year. And therefore the thing is right in terms of really upping the luxury quotient as we go. And this is the best time because we have a season which is coming, which is the festive season, which is a maximum painting kind of a season, which kind of comes in from that point of view. And therefore what we feel is that as we kind of enter the season, we are putting a lot of muscle behind this entire campaign, because the kind of luxury adoption which is happening not only with respect to the metros or the T1, T2 cities, we feel that possibly there is a larger framework which is coming, which is buying into luxury in a very, very strong manner, because after the COVID, homes have become a very, very big socializing social place to that extent. And therefore, the relationship is something in which we want to really influence with this ultra sheen luxury kind of a sophistication we want to bring.
Sure. And sticking with luxury, in fact, Royale GLITZ is a luxury offering. So you have entered luxury home decor space. You recently launched a store, I believe, Beautiful Homes studio in Chennai. So you are clearly, as you mentioned, upping the game when it comes to premiumization and luxury. If you can also share with us the plans going forward in this direction, and what excites you about it.
So first of all, as I said, I think the luxury adoption in India is happening at a very, very strong rate. And today, I think what we are bringing in more and more elements which can get really exciting for that segment. For instance, we have kind of really looked at Sabyasachi designer shades coming in the collection with glitz, which itself kind of ups the quotient with respect to styling and how people feel about the whole game in terms of what comes in. Along with that, we are kind of really upping the ante in terms of really the glitz, the decor which comes in with a lot of international textures and other areas which we are bringing, so that the whole decor is something which is uber luxury in terms of what we speak of as we kind of get into it. And in this store, as you see that we have not only kind of really combined glitz and other textures, but we're also bringing a whole element of home decor around it to that extent, with basically sophisticated furniture, lighting, rugs, and all the works coming, which is the entire entry of getting into the share of space with in the homes, but with luxury as a very keen direction in terms of what we want to see, because this is the time which we think that the adoption is something which is happening crazy.
And more stores also in the pipeline in the coming months?
Definitely. We'll have more stores. We already have offering which is called the Beautiful Home Stores, which is about 44 stores we have across the country.
Correct.
But this is a real super luxury store which has come in, and by the end of the year, we will definitely have 3 or 4 more stores coming around.
3 or 4 more stores. Also, sticking with the festival season, this year, the great Indian festival season marries the cricketing cup. How are you planning to utilize that opportunity in the coming days? And what are your plans in terms of ads around this time of the year?
So as I see it, I think what drives nation, one is very clear. I think one is the whole area of movies, and the other is cricket. I think with this commercial where we've got superstars coming, and the frenzy they are bringing into the entire glitz product. I think marrying it with the top properties in cricket is something which we are looking at. So we are going to be a very, very strong part of Asia Cup and the World Cup, which is kind of coming, which is really the duration in terms of which comes in. And we think that given our association, I think it will be very, very exciting to marry the whole 2 areas of getting the superstars and being in the thick of the action of the 2 big properties which are kind of coming into that extent.
Correct. And more spends this year as compared to last year from Asian Paints?
Definitely. So I think we are upping spends from a point of view of at least about another 15% kind of a jump in terms of what we want to see. And it's not only that you're not only looking at TV, we are looking at almost a 360 degrees, whether it is below the line, whether it is from the point of outdoor, or whether it is from the point of view of print and TV combined together, along with some of the properties which we spoke, we are part of some impact properties like KBC. We have the whole area of the spotlight wall, which we interact with KBC in a very strong manner.
Yes.
So we look at some really strong, impactful properties in and really upping the spends.
Yeah. And what about the rural tier 3, tier 4 markets? Uptick in demand in rural and in rural tier 3, tier 4 markets. So what are your plans over there around the festival season?
So we have definitely seen that when we moved into Q1 of this year, that the rural spends have kind of gone up, and we have seen good amount of growths coming from the rural sector as well. And given the fact that season is a very, very big time when painting comes in a big way, we are looking at forays coming with respect to both the premium and the luxury products there as well. Because what we are finding is that some of T3, T4 cities also the propensity to really get the best within their homes is something which is very high, given the enlightenment through internet and the travel people are kind of undertaking. Therefore, we feel that it's the right moment, in terms of really getting into even the premium, the luxury for the real rural belt to that extent, apart from the upgradation and the smart emulsions in terms of which we already have.
And there is a demand for that.
Definitely, because we see that today the prime homes in terms of even these cities, inside is something which is a very big place to showcase, and that becomes your status. And that is something which people are really kind of going and they are saying, I want the best paint and I have the affordability to put the best paint inside.
Yeah, so luxury is the name of the game, considering that there are new entrants into the decorative paints market and fairly established players like Grasim, like Pidil, like Light entering the market. How does it also, change or tweak your strategy? What are you doing? What are you doing different?
Actually, I've always maintained that competition has always been there in the industry, and I don't think so that this new competition really worries us, because the strength of the brand, strength of the supply chain in terms of what we bring on the table, apart from the innovations like Royale GLITZ, which we have got, it is the first of its kind ultra sheen, ultra crack-free paint in terms of which is there. So we feel that from those points, possibly the newcomers would not be able to kind of really see that they can get into the luxury space so well to that extent. It's all about cost and price, which they would be fighting on to that extent. So our strategy is very clear that keep on the work in terms of adding equity to the brand. Look on playing on your strengths. Look at innovation and look at concentrating in terms of your entire distribution strategy, which is very strong.
And which also, the fairly established players entering into the decorative paints business have great distribution strategy, also a history of creating robust brands in their own right. So what is your perspective? How will it change the dynamics?
This paint is not like an FMCG industry where you look possibly just exercising your distribution right, or you look at basically above the line campaigns. I think there is a whole lot of influencers which come in right now from the point of view of getting the right retailers, getting the right influencers like painters, contractors, architect, designers, and so on and so forth. So it's not a impulse product which possibly you can just buy because you've seen a communication about it to that extent. It has an intricate in terms of a direct reach model, even in terms of distribution to that extent. And therefore, I think the brand equity comes in over large amount of advertising spends you can spend or put up over decades in a brand to that extent. So what we feel is that I think the newer people, if they kind of even pump in money, they will take some time in terms of establishing a brand. And it is important here that today that you are able to create that kind of a recall and trust in customers' mind, because here the customer is coming once in 4 years or 5 years for painting, and it's not an everyday kind of purchase. So I think the category is very different, and from that point of view, I think what can happen is that they will kind of look at possibly taking the unorganized market a little bit, and some of the players which are small in the hierarchy. I don't think so that today brands like Asian Paints would get affected very much, as we have seen in the past as well.
But it will help overall market growth. Overall market growth is what you are saying.
I think the market
on the unorganized players.
See, the market is very big by itself. The per capita consumption in India is about 3.5 kgs as compared to possibly some of the geographies outside in the West, which is about 24 kgs, 25 kgs kind of a per capita consumption. So it helps in terms of really expanding the market overall to that extent. And I think it brings in a little bit of more innovation, more interesting kind of forays, which everyone kind of brings onto flair. So I guess it's a very interesting times to kind of live in.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks for your insights and thanks for joining us today.
And thank you. I think it was really interesting talking to you.
Thank you. It is time for a short break. On the other side, we have Kate Bidhavo, Director of News Partnerships for Google APAC, speaking about Google's initiatives on localization and personalization in India and Google's fight against misinformation and much more.
Whenever I had ice cream or cold water, I would experience a sharp shooting sensation. So I just kept ignoring it. Even my hot chai was giving me the same amount of discomfort. My dentist recommended Sensodyne. So now I can be completely carefree and sip my hot cup of tea. It really works.
Celebrating women who are shaping today's